Hey, fourth graders, Mr. Height here, your favorite scientist. And today, for day 6, I'm going to make a straw flute and help understand a little bit more about pitch and volume and vibrations are produced to make sounds. So hopefully by now, you're really putting those concepts together and you really understand what you need in order to produce a sound. And that sound has to travel through something in order for you to actually hear it. So today, we're going to make really good straw flute. Hopefully you have some materials that you could actually do this too. Really, you only need 2 things. You need a straw, actually 3 things, scissors, third thing, patience, because it does involve some patience because sometimes you might not get it right the first time. But I usually am pretty good with it because I've done it many times. But it's a lot of fun to do, and it really does help you understand some pitch. But I made a video. If you don't have access to that, you can see everything through here. But also it'll help you make one if you want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to my trusted camera. There we are. Here's my straw and my scissors. I even made one, pre-made one, just in case this one doesn't work, but I'm sure it will work. So basically I'm going to take my straw and I'm going to cut one of the ends to kind of make a V. So I got to cut it at an angle. That's probably the hardest part here. So you got to be very careful. You don't cut too much, but you want to cut it at an angle like that. And then I'm going to do the other side because you want to make it kind of like a V at the end. I do it right. Not perfect, but not too bad. So that's basically all I did. And then the next part, which is kind of fun, is actually chew on the end a little bit. That's a fun part of doing this. And what I'm doing is chewing on the end, I'm kind of bending the pieces a little bit. It's basically you're kind of blow air through that, and you want those pieces to vibrate together with the air and going through there, and it should produce a sound. Should. Heard a little bit. Let's see if I can get a little bit more. Close. You can hear a little bit of it. Boom. Got it. So it takes a little bit of patience to get those pieces because those vibrate together. Very interesting sound. And what do you notice about the pitch? And the cool thing is you can actually measure the length of your flute. So mine's about, I'd say about 16.5 centimeters. And the cool thing, well, the interesting thing with this is I turned it a little bit too. And that's where I got the good sound. So that's why it takes a little bit of patience to do. But there it is. Got it working. So I didn't need my other one that I made, pre-made working one. I was able to make one right here. So write down your observations. How was I able to make the straw flute? How was I able to produce a sound? What kind of sound did you hear? Was it a low sound, a high sound? So write down your observations. You maybe draw a diagram. How could you make your flute? And if you do have your straw and you have some scissors, hopefully you can make it along with me. And hopefully you get it to work. So my next question for you is, let's say I cut some of the straw off. Like if I just cut like a couple centimeters off my straw. I said it was 16.5. So let's say I cut it. Let's say I cut 2 centimeters off of it. What will that do to the sound of my straw flute? So make a prediction. If I cut 2 centimeters off, now obviously I don't want to cut this end. I want to cut it off the other end. That's not going in my mouth. So if I cut 2 centimeters off of that, what am I doing to the straw flute? And will that change the sound? What kind of sound? Will I get a low pitch sound or a higher pitch sound? So make a prediction. You can do that in your science notebook. And you can see I have the orchestra, so maybe if I'm really good, they'll ask me to come join the orchestra and I can play my straw flute here, which would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Don't think they'll hire me for a straw flute. Anyway, especially if I have to keep changing the pitch. So here's my straw flute. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure 2 centimeters with my ruler. I'm going to cut off 2 centimeters. You could really turn this into a seams activity. How cool would that be? Does the length of a straw flute affect its pitch? So now I did that. Now I'm going to go ahead and play it and see if, in fact, we made a difference in the sound. Did it change? I don't know. Write down your observations if you think it changed a little bit. And the cool thing is we can keep cutting this down to size. So what happens if I cut another 2 centimeters off of my flute? Make a prediction. Now what is it going to be? So currently now I'm at about 11 to 10 centimeters. So it's a little shorter now. Okay, make a prediction. What do you think it's going to sound like now that I've cut another 2 centimeters off? Be high pitch, low pitch. Write down your observations. Always good to also have a paper towel with you, just to clean up any spit that might be coming out of your flute. Can get messy. So what happens if I cut another 2 centimeters off of this? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Whoa! Getting shorter. Another 2 centimeters. So where am I? Where about am I now? I'll let you calculate that, where I started with. All right, make a prediction. What do you think it's going to sound like? High, low? Getting harder to play, actually. Losing its playability. But it's definitely different sounding than when I started with. But I'll let you guys play around with that. So keep it, making that straw flute smaller and smaller. I could even come back over to my pre-made one. That's why I said it. A little bit of patience. Wow. So that one. You can see that one's definitely a lot longer than my shorter one. So you can definitely hear a change in sound if you have the two. But anyway, so that is how you make a straw flute. And you should have heard some different changes. So how did I make that sound? How was I able to produce the sound? Because I need vibrations and obviously air. And was I able to change the sound by shortening the straw? So write down your reflections. Use academic vocabulary. You can even draw an illustration of that. If you have these materials, definitely try it out. See if you can make it work. And in the elaborate phase, there's other STEM little challenges that you can also create some other different instruments using very simple materials. So check that out as well. All right, guys, a lot of fun, and we will see you next time. It's Mr. Height. See you later.